From big updates like the Azure Maps visual to small quality of life improvements, like clockwork, we got a couple new updates from Power BI this month of July. Now, I'm not gonna cover all the updates for this video, otherwise we'll be here for a long time. So in this video, I'm gonna list out my top 5 Power BI updates for this month of July. Hi, my name is Fernan from Solutions Abroad. If you're new here, please subscribe to keep up to date with all the videos that I upload in this channel. So let's kick things off with the first update, which is the option to disable automatic data type detection. Now, if you're not familiar with this feature, you're probably not even gonna notice this. But if you know it, you'll know how annoying it is to have to manually remove extra steps that Power BI gives you every time you import a new data source. Now with this new update, you're able to apply this globally, so that means you can set the column types yourself. What's extra cool about this update is that it actually came as a suggestion from the Power BI community. It's pretty nice to see that the Microsoft dev team is actually paying attention to their community. The second highlight for me is the ability to add legends to your gradient data bars. So you know, with your charts, you can add some formatting rules to control your data colors, right? If you didn't know, now you know. Well, looking at the data color by themselves don't really give you an explanation of what they are, especially if they are gradients. Now with this update, you can add a legend to these gradients and have a few controls over it, which is neat. Just a couple of things to bear in mind. First is that you can't add a legend value to split your data and add a conditional formatting to your data colors. You can already do that if you have a legend split to your data. So this update is more like if you want to add a bit more detail to your diverging colors. Another thing is that this update only works for certain types of charts, so bar, column, and scatter charts. The full list is in the screen right now. The next highlight for me is the ability to go down to even smaller time frames. Now Power BI can go down to the minutes with any of its time intelligence. So this means that for slicers, you're able to choose relative time, which lets you choose between hours or minutes. So this feature is really cool, especially if you're working with transactional type of datasets where you want to go to as accurate to the minute as you want. For me, I never personally had a need for this, but I recognize the potential of this and the flexibility that it gives to the user when it comes to querying their data, so it's something to keep in mind. The next highlight that I have for you guys is something for those that want to hone in on their storytelling in Power BI. With this new update, you can add data point annotations to your visuals. This basically lets you add some annotations to your visuals to give some explanation on how your data came to be. Now, Power BI has been really good as a self-service tool where you let your users drill down or play around with their data as they please. But I feel that it lacks on the data presentation skills, like if you want to curate a story for your users instead. Now I know that you can create dashboards for this, and there's even a hacky method that you can use to put some highlights on events on your charts. But to be honest, the dashboard has its limits. And even this hacky method relies on a measure that you have to create with your dataset, which is something that I want to avoid if I can. But now with this new addition, it opens up a whole lot of opportunities when it comes to storytelling. So great addition to the toolbox for this, and looking forward to using it. And last but not the least, one of my favorite updates for this month is the Azure Maps visual. So a couple of weeks back, I created a Power BI report for property searching. If you want to see how I built that, links are in the description box down below. At the time, for the London map, I used a custom visual called ArcGIS, which did the job at the time, and it even let me do a lot of customizations on it. It let me add a bubble layer where I can control the size of the bubble based on the property prices, and it even let me highlight points in the map so I can analyze certain boroughs that I wanted. But the problem was that when I wanted to share this report as an embed to the public, ArcGIS isn't supported in embed mode. So all you get when you try to share it is a blank screen saying it's not supported, which is a bummer. And what's worse is that the alternatives are not half as good as ArcGIS. But now this new visual seems to cover a lot of features that I'm really excited to play around with. So from what I can see, you can use different layers depending on the type of map visual that you want to use. So you can use the bubble layer to represent data scales in a 2D format. You can use the 3D bar chart layer if you want to represent data scales as cylinders with height. You can use the reference layer if you want to add custom location data and overlay it onto your map. I don't know how this one works yet, so I'm curious to test this one out. You can use the custom tile layer if you want to add image on top of your map visuals. So really interesting what kind of visuals the community will come up with this one. And you can add real-time traffic overlay to see things like traffic congestions and such. Really interesting feature. But unfortunately, there's no use case for me on this one. And those were my highlights for this month's Power BI update. Obviously, there are a ton more features that they added. So if you want to find out what the other ones are, I'm leaving a link in the description box below. So which feature did you find most interesting? Leave it in the comment section below. For me, it's definitely the storytelling annotations. Please leave a like if you enjoy this type of content. It really helps me grow out this channel and reach out to more people. Finally, if you have any suggestions or feedback, get in touch. I've included my email address as well as my social media links in the description box below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope I see you again next time.